Hello and welcome everyone, it's Karen. I'm using my dies today in a slightly different way. I'm going to use them as stencils. I will also die cut them, but I think this is such a great way to get more use out of our dies, especially those expensive cover plate dies. But today I'm going to use these two border dies. They are less expensive and sometimes overlooked, I think. So I've got an 11-inch wide piece of cardstock by 5.5 inches tall. So this will be a 5.5-inch square card. You can make it whatever size you want. But I'm using the diagonal stripe border die from Paper Rose, and I'm putting it just to the right of my score line there. And I've die cut that out, as you can see. And then I can fold my card in half and give it a good burnish. So now I've cut this opening. You can choose to either put that at the top or on the left-hand edge, whichever way you would like it to go. I mean, I could have cut it at the bottom and turned it the other way as well, but this is what I did. Now, I'm just showing you here, I've cut it here to use this piece as my stencil, but what a fun way to change up the pattern of your border die if you just rotate this and turn it the other way around. So you could put that on the inside and, have another card front opening with it going the other way, and you would get that nice crisscross effect. But I'm actually going to get that same crisscross effect by stenciling. So here I'm just lining up the openings of my border die, and I'll use a, pretty old piece of masking tape here. It's low tack though. So I'm just putting that in place, and I'm using my Versamark ink and just going through it with the foam blending brush. And you can't really see that pattern, but I've got some mica powder. So this pink one is from Cosmic Shimmer, but Perfect Pearls work. Any mica powder will work with this technique, and there are lots of them in all colors of the rainbow. So here I am just brushing on the mica powder, and it will stick to the Versamark ink and show up that pattern. And it's just a really fun way to get a soft background. And I think I have forgotten to do this technique, so I was kind of happy I remembered it. But now when I close up my card, you can see I've got that same crisscross effect just by stenciling with that die. Now I've got the Wedding Blooms die. I've cut that from a scrap piece of cardstock, and I'm going to go over the front of my card. I felt like it needed a little something more. And this is such a pretty border die. So I'm just doing the same thing with this. I'm brushing on some Versamark ink, and then you can barely see it there, but it is there. And because it's a border die, I have to go over a little bit more on the right side of that. So I just repositioned this stencil of mine and just made sure I had most of that front covered. And again, I'm going in with the same mica powder, and you'll see this pattern come out. And it's just such a fun technique to do and so inexpensive. So again, I'm just going to wipe off any excess there. And you can spray these with a bit of mist of water or a fixative to make sure they seal in. But they've always got that beautiful shine because it is all that mica powder. Now, I've cut this same border from a slightly wider piece of cardstock. And I did that so I could cut off the excess at the back. I wasn't entirely sure where to line it up to make sure that it fit. So I just made it a little bit wider on the left, and I knew that I would be cutting that excess piece off. So I'm going to glue this right to the front of my card and then trim off the excess there. So now I've got that sort of with a border on the front. Now I've taken this, that's the Etched Blooms 4 flower, and then this little foliage one, and I've cut these from scraps of my rainbow twirl paper and assembled those flowers, as you can see there, and the leaves are there. So I'm just going to position these now on the front of this border opening. And then once I've got an idea of what I'm going to do, I started to glue them in. And you just have to be a little careful there. I did open up my card. I don't know if you noticed, but I opened it so I wasn't getting glue all over the inside. Now I had some excess, so I'm going to glue these down inside my card, so the inside is just as much fun as the front. And I think it's really fun to see that through that sort of latticey looking opening. Now I've got the Thanks border die here. I've cut that from white cardstock. I just eyeballed this, but I was trying to make the left and right borders, when they match up to be roughly the same. I don't measure anything, so I was really eyeballing this. And then I just cut straight down to complete that cut there so it would make the border. And then I just add a little bit of glue to the back of that. And I will tuck it underneath that flower and that leaf and just butt it right up against that other border. You do see a line there, there is a seam, but I've just added a few gems, and that's this card. And I think that's really fun to use those, to get a bit more use out of our dies and our border dies, and to use the mica powder because I had forgotten that one. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. I hope I've given you some ideas here. Thanks and have a great day, everybody. Bye.